Yes, hello again, and welcome back to the last and final video clip from the 2024 Northern Ireland charity two-day scramble. And I do hope you've enjoyed all of the footage that we brought you from this year's event as we get into our very last block of racing from the Saturday's race programme, and we're going to get straight into race 8, and this is for all riders over 50 years of age. And as the riders leave the line, as you can see, a slightly depleted field of riders as we get near the end of the day's racing programme, but looks like Adrian Lappin has made quite a good start there in second position. I think Adrian's riding one of those big four-stroke Huskies. So as the riders make their way up the hill for the very first time, looks like that could be number 5. I think that's John Allen, who's your race leader on the 1981 490 Michael. As we take a look at number 158, which is none other than Grand Prix racing legend, Kawasaki man, the great Lawrence Spence. So here's the battle at the front here between number 5 John Allen and number 24 Adrian Lappin on that big four-stroke thumper Husqvarna. So a good scrap here between these two, but it looks like Adrian Lappin's got the advantage of John Allen in second place. I think third place now looks like that could be Andy Elliott on the HVA factory Husqvarna. Quite hard to read some of these riders' numbers, as you can guess, with all the mud that's flying around. So there's your race leader as he starts at lap 2. It's number 24 Adrian Lappin. 4 laps, of course, of this track, and because we've now cut out that hill section, these are very short races with very short laps, which is the kind of races that I always like to race in back in the day. The 158 again is Lawrence Spence, who, as you know, was an ex-Kawasaki Works rider at one time. So here's your race leader. This has been a good start here by number 24, Adrian Lappin. And you may remember you saw Adrian riding one of Cecil Pearson's Jap machines in an earlier race. Second position is still number 5 there, John Allen, number 5, or Mad John as he's sometimes known. It looks like John's just taking a little tumble there off that just to entertain the crowds, as he normally does. And actually, if I know John, he's probably done that just to get a laugh from the spectators, but he looks like he's okay and good to go. Here's your race leader again, number 24. It's Adrian Lappin. As I said earlier, one of the hardest working volunteers with the Northern Ireland Classic Scramble Club, and in second position it's still number 158 Lawrence Spence riding that 490 Michael. So Lawrence Spence still going very well on that old Michael, and still of course heavily involved with motocross racing through his Spence racing business. So we're just waiting on our race leader coming up the hill to begin his last and final lap of this over 50s race. It should be number 24 Adrian Lappin. So Adrian's still going very well in the quite tricky conditions. The track has slightly dried out from earlier in the afternoon, but as you can see it's still pretty hairy trying to negotiate some of these sharp turns. So this has been a good ride here by number 24 Adrian Lappin on the 4-stroke Husqvarna. Still Lawrence Spence, number 158 in second position. So Lawrence again doing very well, and certainly no stranger to fast motocross racing bikes. Number 14 bike there is Andy Elliott from the famous HVA factory, the Husqvarna bike and spare parts suppliers. So Andy Elliott, I think he was currently in third position, so we're just waiting on our race leader coming up the hill to take the checkered flag. That is of course not our race leader. Here he comes, Adrian Lappin, so a well-deserved win for Adrian on the 4-stroke thumper Husqvarna. Second position is going to be Lawrence Spence, and he's going to finish in the runner-up position in second. So that brings us on to the final race for the vintage bikes. And this is the pre-68s, pre-70s and the pre-1974s as they come up the hill. Looks like our leader could be number 339, and I think that's Stuart McClurg there on the old 1970s Myco. So Stuart McClurg's made a fantastic start coming up the hill. We'll try and pick up one or two of these riders if we can read their numbers. That was Harry Stitt just making his way through there. So that looks like that could be number 12. I think that's maybe Chris Lappin on the CZ. I think that's James Thompson in second position on a Cecil Pearson Jap machine. So here's your race leader coming up the hill. It is in fact James Thompson. That's your new race leader. So James is absolutely flying there on that Rickman Jap powered bike. Looks like Chris Lappin could be in second position. And James Thompson's number there is 26, in case you're interested, although it's very hard to read the number at this point. But there's your second placed man. I think that's Harry Stitt, number 111. That's a bike that Harry built himself. He built the frame and then used one of Cecil Pearson's Jap engines to power it. So we're looking at our race leader as he comes up the hill to complete another lap. It's still number 26, James Thompson, and James is just actually recovering from a mountain bike accident that he suffered a few weeks ago. So James is really just getting back up to speed, because he did have a few injuries during that mountain bike accident, but it's good to see James back on the bike again and running at the sharp end of the pack. And number 339 there, that's Stuart McClurg on the old, what looks like an old 1974 Myco. I think that's another bike that's owned by James Brown. And James has 2 or 3 of these bikes, and he very kindly allows Stuart to race them. So Stuart McClurg going very well there. We're looking at number 33 now. That's John Griffiths on another one of Cecil Pearson's famous Jap scramblers. So he's had quite a good afternoon as well. John, oops. The curse of the commentators, unfortunately, has struck again. The minute you tell a rider that he's doing very well, he usually drops the bike or falls off, as John did there. But there's your race leader again, number 26, James Thompson. James doesn't seem to be having any problems with that 4-stroke Jap-powered bike. Now, at the last count, I think Cecil Pearson had at least 9 of these Jap scramblers, and I did have a little insight into what makes them tick and how they're all put together when I was apprenticing in Cecil's workshop on the Friday evening. So we're back with number 339, Stuart McClurg, and I think Stuart could be possibly running in about 3rd place at this point. Number 20 there is Lee Rook, one of the Don Matthews World Championship riders. And I think he's actually the current CZ World Champion is Lee Rook, but it's a win for James Thompson. Second place, it looks like it's gone to number 339 there, Stuart McClurg, and it's going to be number 111, Harry Stitt, who crosses the line in third. There's John Griffiths pushing another one of the Japs back to the paddock. Looks like that could be another fortnight of repairs for Cecil when he gets that one back to the workshop. But John's not had a very great day, so he's going to try and bump start the big Jap. Well, he was going to try. Go on, let us see it again. A bit of fun there with John Griffiths and pull the choke there. So that brings us quite nicely around to race 10. These are the first of the 3 Twinshock classes. This is grade C, and as you can see, not a huge turnout of riders for this race because this has been a very difficult afternoon, and a lot of the riders have just decided to put their bikes in the van and head straight to the bar. But well done to these guys who are still trying to entertain the crowds that have attended this year's charity event. So we're just waiting on our racers coming up the hill for the first time, and you can see it's still quite slippy and slidey, even although we've had no more rain since the morning, but still very slippy at this stage. So there's your front man just going through, and if I'm not mistaken, I think that could be number 511. I think that could be Peter Denny on his RM Suzuki. Looks like Peter there, number 511. So it looks like Peter Denny's got an early lead. Second position is number 28. I think that's Lewis Paul riding the Husqvarna 250. Now looks like number 13 there. I think that could be Roy Johnston on his RM Suzuki. So Roy riding that lucky number 13. So here's the man at the front. It's still number 511 who's holding the fort at the front. It's Peter Denny on the RM Suzuki. I don't know if that's maybe a 400 or maybe even a 250. It's hard to tell at this stage, but Peter Denny going very well on his old RM Suzuki. Still in second position, it looks like it's still Lewis Paul on the Husqvarna 250. Number 28 there, Lewis Paul. He's had quite a decent afternoon as well, so looks like he's still going reasonably well on his Husqvarna. Number 521 there, that's Gary Canning on his 1979 KX 250 Kawasaki. That's a bike that I actually did a feature on in my Classic Dirt Bike TV YouTube channel a few years back. So as you can see, a stunning landscape when you take a look at the scenery surrounding this beautiful hillside racetrack. An absolute fantastic place to hold one of these old classic Scramble events. We're just waiting on our race leader coming up the hill, and it looks like it's number 28, Lewis Paul. So Lewis appears to have passed Peter Denny for that pole position. So the young man going very well here on the Husqvarna. So it'll be Peter Denny now in second position. Oh, jeez. The curse of the commentators again. That's twice I've been caught out here. That's 28 Lewis Paul, unfortunately, has dropped the bike, but hopefully he can get it fired up again. So that was Peter Denny just reclaiming his pole position. So it's Peter Denny, your race leader, but I think Lewis is going to hang on to that. I was going to say second place, but it looks like he's down to third position now. Now, I don't know who that particular rider is there. I can't read his race number, but looks like he's going okay in that what looks like an old DT Yamaha. Looks like Lewis has possibly dropped that bike in the corner again. He's struggling a little bit to get that bike moving again. But these are still horrendous conditions, and as I said, when I was racing about 150 years ago, I absolutely hated these kind of rough and wet conditions. But here's your new race leader, courtesy of the fact of Lewis dropping his bike. So it's still number 511, Peter Denny, as he starts his last and final lap. So hopefully Peter can keep the bike upright for this last and final lap and maybe take the win in this Twinshock Grade C class race. But you can see that this is not about racing really, it's about trying just to put the laps in and make your way around the course, because there's not a lot of racing being done. But I think that could be your second placed rider now. That little Yamaha there, as I said, a clue whose the rider's number is. It looks like it might be number 76 or something similar to that, but he looks like he's your current second placed positioned rider. It looks like Peter Denny is stopped in the corner, so Peter was leading this race, so this man here may be your new race leader. So looks like Gary Canning's having a bit of a bother getting up that hill. I think Gary needs a brand new tyre on the back of that KX Kawasaki. So there's your second place man now. So Lewis Paul is back into second position. So hopefully Lewis can keep the bike upright for this last half a lap and take that second placed position. So there's your winner. I don't know who that rider is, but he's certainly well pleased there that he's won this race, so well done to him on that little two-stroke Yamaha. Another rider parked track side. Looks like Peter Denny is still trying to keep that RM running and try and get it to the finish line. Here's your second placed man coming up the hill. So despite a couple of falls, Lewis has done very well to bring the bike across the finish line to take a well-deserved second place finish. So it looks like Gary Canning is going to bring his KX Kawasaki home in third position. So not a bad result for Gary, and as you can see, he looks suitably chuffed as well. But that was your race leader early on. That's Peter Denny on the Suzuki, and it looks like Peter's just said, I'll just leave the bike there and go and get me a can of beer. So, but it's not been a great afternoon for Peter, but it's just been one of those days. So that was the last of the Twinshock C grade class races, which surprisingly brings us on to the Twinshock B grade class, and this is race 11. Better field of riders for this class. So let's see who can do all the early running in this Twinshock grade B. Again, it's quite hard to read the rider numbers, but I think that could be number 586 at the front there. I think that's Andrew Galt on the YZ 490 Yamaha. Don't know who that is in second position, but you can see some of these riders sliding and squirming their way around the corner. So although the track is drying ever so slightly, it's still pretty precarious and sticky. But hopefully I'll be invited back to this event in 2025, and it'd certainly be great to see more entrants from the UK mainland support this very worthwhile cause next year. So if you think that this might be something that you might be interested in, then keep your eye on the Northern Ireland Classic Scramble Club's website for all of the information for 2025. So as our race leader comes up the hill to start lap 2, looks like it's still number 586. I think that's Andrew Galt on the YZ490 two-stroke Yamaha. Second position looks like that could be number 111. I think that's Ian McMahon on the big four-stroke Yamaha bike. Oh, looks like our race leader has dropped his machine into that corner, so that will now, whoops, apologies for laughing, but I know what it's like when you're racing in these kind of conditions. So there's your new race leader. It's number 111, Ian McMahon, going very well on the big four-stroke thumper Yamaha bike. Now I think Ian had quite a decent result in the first race of the afternoon for the Twinshock Grade B boys, so he's certainly on his way to a decent result if, of course, he can keep that bike upright and on the track. But that's a very wet part of the track at the bottom there, so you can see the bike's struggling to get any kind of grip at all. But Ian McMahon going very well here. Whoops! Jeez, peeps. Looks like Ian was going to be doing a big flying W there, but he certainly saved it. But that's just one of 100 incidents that we had at this event here on the Saturday. We're taking a look at number 23 there. That's Eric Bracewell. I think Eric's also riding that YZ490 Yamaha. But sometimes these bikes can have too much power when you've got these very sticky conditions. So Eric Bracewell still going very well on his Yamaha. And number 40 there, that's John Colling. John, of course, was the clerk of the course for this event on the Friday evening. So John's now taking a day off and trying to enjoy himself in these sticky conditions. That was your race leader there, number 586. I think that was Andrew Galt who led this race earlier on. It looks like Andrew's been unable to get that YZ490 fired up again. So here's your race leader, still number 111, Ian McMahon. But as I said, it would have been nice to see more riders from England and Scotland making their way to this charity event this year, because it's been quite a poor turnout for riders from the UK mainland. But thanks to Andy Elliott and Matt Yates, who made the journey for the HVA factory concern, so well done to them for putting the effort in, as we look at John Colling there. So looks like our race leader and winner of this Twinshock Grade B class race is going to be number 111. It's going to be Ian McMahon on the four-stroke Yamaha. So well done to Ian for keeping that bike upright and on the track. Now, I haven't a clue who that second or third placed rider is, but as I said, very difficult to read the rider's numbers in these pretty grim conditions. So that brings us on to the final race for the Twinshock Grade A class. This is race 12. Basically, these are the faster boys of the Twinshock racing class, so a decent lineup considering the track conditions and the amount of riders who didn't take part this year. So as the riders leave the line in a plume of rooster tails, that looks like Stuart McClurg, who's made a cracking start there. Looks like Stuart got the whole shot there on the James Brown 490 Michael. Second place looks like it's Tommy Merton. So as they make their way up, whoops, Tommy Merton doing a bit of sliding there going up the hill, but as they come across the hill to start lap one, it is indeed Stuart McClurg, your race leader. Second is number 22 there, that's Tommy Merton on the HVA factory Husqvarna. Looks like Tommy Merton has now taken the lead of this race, but I think that's a big 450 two-stroke liquid cooled Husqvarna that Tommy's riding. I think that's one of the later Huskies, but as you can see, it's a very quick piece of kit. Second place there is number 339, that's Stuart McClurg. Just trying to pick up who's in third position, but again, it's hard to read rider numbers at this stage. That rider coming into your shot now, number 490, is unfortunately another one of the riders that are not listed in the racing programme, but it's still Tommy Merton at number 22, your race leader. Second place is Stuart McClurg. So even though Stuart's in second position, he's had a very good afternoon, Stuart in second position, but Tommy Merton has certainly been the man of the meeting. I think Tommy won 2 races on the Friday, and I think he's already won 2 races here on the Saturday. So Tommy Merton going very well on the HVA factory Husky. Now, it's a bit too early at this point to give you a total of the amount of money that's been raised at this year's charity event, but certainly in the past, this 2-day charity event has raised in excess of £100,000 for worthwhile causes in the area during the last 5 years. But as soon as I get furnished with the final sum, we'll certainly let you know, maybe even on one of my future YouTube videos. So there's your second placed man, number 339, Stuart McClurg on the James Brown sponsored Michael 490. I must admit, that's a lovely looking machine when it's not covered in mud. As we take a look at third placed man, whose number unfortunately I can't make out, but he's also riding a 490 Michael. But if we do discover that rider's number, we'll let you know. But we still have a good scrap going on here between the two HVA factory bikes of Andy Elliott and Matt Yates. I think that's Andy Elliott just ahead of Matt there, number 14. Matt, I think, is riding Husqvarna number 40, but he's your race leader, still going very well on the Husky. That's Tommy Merton. Second place is still Stuart McClurg. So as I said, Stuart's also had a very good day. He's had a couple of second places on the Friday and another couple of second places here on Saturday. As we take a look at number, I think that's number 169. That looks like that could be Stephen Beattie. Stephen also on a 490 Michael, but still your race leader, Tommy Merton, at number 22, as he begins his last and final lap. Number 490, looks like he's heading for a DNF. But there doesn't seem to be any such problems for this man here, number 339, Stuart McClurg. We take a look at number 5 again, that's John Allen, or Mad John. He seems to have recovered from his little slip going down the step in that earlier race, so John going quite well there on the 4.19 Michael, but it's a win for number 22 Tommy Merton, and it looks like it's going to be Stuart McClurg who's going to take that second position. So that naturally brings us on to race 13, and this is the last race for the big wheel 85s and the 125s and 254 stroke youth classes. So these youngsters still appear to be enjoying themselves in the mud here at Craigantlet. And just to warn you, we don't have any list of names of runners and riders for this class, so we'll just have to go by the rider numbers. But it looks like it's number 22 who has the early lead on what looks like it could be a little 4-stroke KTM, but as they come up the hill we have already a change of leadership. And currently in second position there, that looks like that could be Alfie Heron in second position on the little 85 Husk. Gee, oh my goodness me. Alfie, what are you thinking about? Alfie was going very well there, so we'll just wait and see if he can get that little Husky fired into life, and he's on his way once again. But there's your race leader. That's number 22. No, it's not. It's number 77. But as I said, I don't have any list of names of these youth riders. So here's your second place man, number 22, and Alfie Heron looks like he's up and running again there in third. Third position. Alfie Heron, he's still managing to keep the bike upright and on the track, but here's the man at the front, currently leading the 125 or 254 stroke part of this combined race, number 77 on that KTM. Number 22 is in second position. Alfie Heron is currently there in third. So we'll see if Alfie can make his way through to maybe second position, but still going reasonably well at this stage. But I'm sure this is something that we will sort out for 2025 and get a full list of every rider that takes part in this charity event, so we can at least name the riders when they're seen here on the track. So it's still this man here, number 77 on the 2-stroke KTM, who's your race leader. Oh, no, goodness me. Sorry about that. That's the third time today. There's Alfie Heron, number 10, who is currently in second or third position now. Number 77. Hopefully you can keep that bike upright and on the track till the end of this race, but the track conditions are still horrendously slippy. So it's Alfie Heron making his way down to the bottom section of the track, and it looks like Alfie is actually taking the lead of this race now, so Alfie will certainly be in the lead of the big wheel 85 part of this race. Number 77 is still currently leading the 125 part of this race, so little Alfie going very well here in these tricky conditions. So if Alfie can just keep those little Husky 85 wheels turning and keep the bike upright, he could be in quite a commanding position in this combined race. So, whoops, that was our leader of the 125s, but it looks like he's kept the motor running and he's on his way once again. So here's your race winner. It's going to be number 10 Alfie Heron, who's going to win the big wheel 85 part of this race. So well done to Alfie, and it's going to be number 77 who's going to take the win for the 125s. So that brings us on to the penultimate race of the day now. This is race 14 now. Apparently there was only one rider who was prepared to brave the elements, and it was this young man here. And this is the 65s and 85 small wheel race, and this young man here, who is number 108, Cooper McCamley, was the only rider to be brave enough to line up at the start line. So well done to you, Cooper, for taking part in this race, because these little bikes with their small wheels are very hard to get going in these deep ruts, and as you can see, young Cooper struggling a bit going up the hill, but well done to him for being the only participant in this race. So this is my kind of race, but young Cooper struggling a bit there, but the young lad was 100% determined to get around this track. He didn't do exactly 4 laps because of the track conditions, but he certainly had a damn good go at it. So Cooper on his little, I think it's a little Yamaha, certainly struggled a bit going round the track, but I think he did complete 1 or possibly even 2 laps. So well done to that young man anyhow, for being the only one brave enough to battle the elements. So as you can gather, Cooper was the winner of this small wheel 65 and 85 race. So well done to that young man, and he fully deserved any race points that he got for taking part in this race. So well done to that young man there. That's number 108, Cooper McCamley. So that, of course, brought us round to the final race of this year's 2024 Charity Scramble. This is race 15, and this is a 500cc open class race. So as you can see, most of the bikes that took part in the day's proceedings are now all packed up, and the riders are now sitting in the bar for a well-earned beer after their exploits at the track. So these are the 5 brave souls that have remained for the last race of the day. So as they leave the line and head up into turn 1, it's Tommy Merton who has the whole shot in second and third place there. We also have the other 2 HVA factory bikes of Matt Yates at number 40 in second place, and of course Andy Elliott there, who's going round the outside, who is the owner and the operator of HVA factory Husky bikes and parts. So this looks like this could be win number 5, I think, for the Saturday for Tommy Merton. In fact, I think it will be 5 wins for Tommy over the course of the 2 days, and not just here on the Saturday, but this will certainly be Tommy's 3rd win of the day here on the Saturday, if he manages to keep that bike on the track. Second position looks like it's Matt Yates on his Husqvarna. Andy Elliott is 3rd. Not sure who that rider is there in 4th on the Husqvarna. It may be another one of the Lappin boys. So there's your race leader again, Tommy Merton, number 22, who's had a relatively easy day at the track. A vastly experienced young man, very skillful as well, as you can see him making his way around, looking for the grip in the corners. There's your second place man, Matt Yates, number 40, another one of Andy Elliott's Husqvarnas. So the two HVA Husky boys have had a decent afternoon's racing despite the horrendous conditions. That looks like number 12 again. That could be Chris Lappin on the 430 Husky. I think that's the 430 and not the 250 that Chris Lappin is riding. But as you can see, the sun has come out, but this track is certainly going to take some drying because it's still very slippy. But I must say, overall, it's been a very difficult day for all of the riders on the Saturday's part of the two-day race weekend. The track was certainly bad enough on the Friday evening's event, but after we had that super heavy shower early Saturday morning, it turned what was already a wet track into what you see now. So we're looking at our second placed rider, Matt Yates, on the Husqvarna. Not sure what model of Husky that Matt's riding. Looks like a 500 CR. So Matt going, thought we were going to have another faller there on the Husqvarna, but it looks like Chris Lappin has managed to keep a hold of that bike. But you can see this track is not bothering Tommy Merton one little bit. He still seems to be able to find that grip when everybody else is slipping and sliding around the track. So Tommy Merton certainly got that Husky hooked up into this Craigantlet racetrack. Still Matt Yates there in second position, so Matt going quite well. I think this will be another good result for Matt. I think he had a decent finish in that previous Twinshock race. But I'm sure the Northern Ireland Classic Scramble Club would love to see you at this event next year if you can spare the time, because it is a good weekend. It just so happens that we've not been blessed with the weather during the Friday and Saturday, but we'd certainly like to see more people attend this event in 2025. So there's your race leader heading towards the checkered flag as he starts his last and final lap. So this looks like it's going to be yet another win for number 22, Tommy Merton. But I certainly hope you've enjoyed everything that we've brought you from this year's 2024 Northern Ireland Classic Charity Scramble. It's been another epic 2 days, and as I said, hopefully next year it will be a bit drier and we'll see more competitors taking part. So here's your race leader coming up the hill for the very last time, and it's another win for number 22, Tommy Merton. So it's certainly been a difficult 2 days here at this year's Charity Scramble, but hopefully we'll have raised a nice amount of cash to go towards our two charities, the Leukemia Lymphoma Northern Ireland and of course the Northern Ireland Air Ambulance. Well, there you have it. That just about concludes everything that went down over the course of the 2 days here at this year's 2024 Charity Scramble event. And hopefully this year's two chosen charities, which of course are the Leukemia Lymphoma and the Northern Ireland Air Ambulance, will both receive a nice cash boost once the total figure has been calculated. But I do hope you've enjoyed everything that we've shown you from this year's event, including those nice bikes from the paddock and of course all of the racing from this 2-day charity scramble event. So from all of us here at Craigantlet in Northern Ireland, for the time being, thanks for watching, and it's goodbye for now.